What's up, you guys? Tony here for Project Grow. It is the first week of April 2015. We are here to wrap up the economic viability series within Project Grow. What is beautiful so far that we've gone through is the two most important things, in my opinion, what leads to optimal health, which was the subconscious eating series, which we started with, and then also on top of that, the economic viability of taking care of yourself on a fully sustainable and bioavailable and organic level through your nutritional lifestyle. Kind of to recap what we did last week, I kind of give you tidbits of specific websites to go through wholesaling to make not only your purchase value a little bit more easier on your wallet, but also from great sources of places where you actually know where your food is coming from. And just to kind of recap those, earthshipproducts.com, go check it out. Dr. Robert Kassar, explore that website. He does a lot of interactive videos that actually make it a little bit more easier for you to understand and kind of, open your mind to the idea of outside of just not only nutritional, the way of looking at life, but also just, the spirituality that goes into food as well. Nuts.com, they have they have everything, seeds, but they have a great organic section within the nuts and seeds if you want to do bulk. Specifically, dragonherbs.com, my kind of home end to where I get a lot of my stuff based on the Chinese herbalistic and the Tibetan herbalistic philosophy. Ron Teagarden, look him up. Great person to, kind of get to know and what his whole movement within not only the pharmaceutical industry, but his backstory about his son as well. If you get a chance, research him as well. earthcircle.com is an absolutely amazing product line, specifically for restaurants. It's kind of a little bit more bigger bulk value. If you want to hold on to bigger bulk items for a lot of time, do it. It's going to cost a little bit more, but still worth your while. Also, dragonflymedicine.com, I was talking about the botanical inoculants, what you can do for your flowering plants, as well as herbal cocos. Check it out. Shout outs to Kevin Noel for his suggestion on that. Big ups to that. And not only that, the hostdefense.com, I was talking to you about the bioremediation mycologist Paul Stement that I was, so blessed and so graced by his presence at the Permaculture 2 conference to be able to talk to us as an audience about his story and what he's actually doing within the mycelium and also mushroom, a whole idea of, what that's doing for the world as well as the nutritional lifestyle. But when it comes down to economic sourcing, I think the contrast between what is really important is that fabrication of the organic industry. And what I'm going to shout out to, not only what we're doing on an organic level, if you're doing it whether on the farm base or if you're doing it through the farmers markets to thrive that local economy, what's really staggering, and this is a very, very interesting thing to look at, the acquisitions based off of the top 30 producers or the food processors within the country in June 2009. If you look at those figures specifically, this was the lead to not only me wanting to get into the more idea of understanding not only where my food comes from, but then also contrasting that to the top 100 food processors within the United States and their acquisition of organic industries and organic companies at February 2014. This is a 4.5-year gap within these two specific pie graphs. These two specific pie graphs just show you the explosive of not a $35 billion industry based by the United States Department of Agriculture, what the organic industry is actually funneling in to that department. It's a $35 billion industry, and it is just becoming more and more and more, exclusive to specifically just organic foods. So this is becoming a boom, not only becoming a trend, I think it's a fad, to be honest with you, because true organic food is the common sense. The fact that people are making a lot more money based off of that is because, like I said last week, 95% of multiple ingredients only need to be certified organic. So you're not actually getting full-based organic food, which is, in me, that's lying to the community. That's lying to the people. That's lying to the masses. So know exactly where you're going from. Look at those two figures and just study that fact. 4.5 years and how big 30 food processors can go to the top 100 food processors, and it's just explosive. And if you notice, even in a couple of those, there's two specific, Hain Celestial, and I forgot the other company, but they became actual companies. They became not just strategic alliances, they became actual companies that are acquiring certain organic, smaller entities to actually build their stronger corporation empire. So look at that, look at the corporations, and if you look at those top food processors, I know for a fact, specifically just based off of our childhood within being 90s babies, you know who they are. You know who they are. So it's kind of, it's an evil entity aspect, and it's kind of, it's scary. It's scary, but also that's the provided knowledge that you get to use to actually make better choices based off your food. Also, what was really interesting that kind of moved me, I always revert to Netflix. This film called Food Chains. Food Chains, if you look in this, it talks about the grocery store complex, like the whole facets of superstores. It specifically focuses on the southeastern part of the United States, Florida, and the food store Publix. Go check this out, because this talks about, you know, not only farmer worker wages, the equality within rights within these people that are working for actually making food for these grocery stores. And a lot of people, if you know me, you know my beef about grocery stores and going to farmers markets, but it's an eye-opening thing to look at what these food chains are getting, so where these super grocery stores are actually getting their food for minimal amount of prices without actually having to go to that extent of paying those people the right fair amount of wages to actually get the food for them. So very interesting look at that. Check it out, Food Chains on Netflix. Also, what's really interesting, I did a lot of like economic research on the cost of living. This is what's really important, not just based off the nutritional lifestyle, but this also kind of debunks the whole concept of people saying, oh, it's too expensive to eat right, it's too expensive to eat organic. Specifically Progress Foundation, you guys are based out of the Twin Cities. Based off of the information I looked at, Forbes.com as well as BusinessInsider.com. Number 3 overall economic, sustainable, and economically viable, place to live is the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Number 3 overall in the entire country. Number 1 in the West North Central area. That's based off of 2 very well-known economic-based companies that are doing this research based off of everything that you can think of, to rent, to mortgages, to cost of foods, to cost of movie tickets. They do everything. Go check it out, but Twin Cities based. You guys are very well suited. You guys have a very health conscious avenue. I'm from there. I've been back there. So when you get down to the point for the people that are in those outskirts of where Progress Foundation is based out of, whether it be somewhere in the boonies, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, places that are not Alabama, Mississippi, these are places, where you're not seeing a lot of conscious ideas of moving forward with food or moving forward with a nutritional aspect. But this is why these videos to me are so important, is that if you get down to the nitty-gritty of what you really want to do, these are the, the recaps that I do specifically for the websites, like Earthshift, like Earth Circle, like Dragon Herbs. Just these foods that you can get in bulk so it doesn't become a problem from where you are. Yeah, maybe agriculture, it's a little bit different, but that's where it actually becomes more fun investigating those specific informations on where your food is coming from, and it makes it easier to get your food on a holistic level. So not only that, based off of those, I think what's really, really interesting, based off the Moody's Economy.com, as well as the National Association of Homebuilders.com, they rank Minneapolis, St. Paul in the top 5 most, viable ways of living, not only just financially, happiness level, but also taking care of everything on a health level as well. So that's very big ups to Minneapolis, St. Paul. You guys are actually fixated in a beautiful situation to take care of everything you need to do to have a very healthy and sustainable life. But also, that's why I'm here. If you guys have any different ideas, me, specifically living in Los Angeles, I rank in the top 25 most expensive cities and metropolitan areas. So it's a little bit different contrast, but also at the same time, I also have friends in Brooklyn, New York, which is this number 2 most expensive metropolitan area in the entire United States. I also have, a very good friend who lives in Manhattan as well, which is the number 1 most expensive place to live, and actually number 6 most expensive to live in the entire world. So when you go off of those information, these people are subconsciously seated and living on an organic lifestyle. This is moving. This is powerful. And I think what's really interesting for me to wrap up the economic viability sources, giving you those informations, giving you that source so you can go check it out yourself. this is real. This is real. You guys are in a very, very important time for us to understand the difference between economics and the difference between happiness. I think when you correlate those two and you can find that happy medium and you can find, you know, that well-stitched medium, it becomes, your life becomes more and more, you know, beautiful. I mean, that's the best word, beautiful. It's one of my favorite words to use. But when you get down to that point, I think it was very interesting based off of just wanting to have a better life, thriving with the life you have, being situated in a city like Minneapolis, St. Paul, or like anywhere else. These are the specific needs and ideas that you need to be able to go for it. And I think what's very important for me doing it on that level is being that informant, being that person to be able to give it to you guys. Because what is so important about like the ideas and what we're trying to do with Project Grow is I'm growing with you. I'm specifically growing with you, and that's what I want to do. I want to challenge myself while I'm challenging you guys. And I think when we come down to the final conclusion next week of all economic viability and bringing that into a conclusive idea, we're going to come in with so much force within the next couple of series that it's going to be a little bit more easy for everybody to, you know, chime in on those questions, chime in on that interactive idea of what food and what optimal well-being. Because if you take care of your mind and you take care of your body, it just comes naturally. Happiness comes naturally. So I thank you guys. Big ups to everybody at Progress Foundation. Also, big thanks to Matty Ice, Matt Menzer at work. He just gave me a huge informational book about, by Doug Graham about the 80-10-10 diet and nutritional lifestyle that I'm about to dive into. So big ups to him. You always make me the best salads at work, so I appreciate you. And if you guys have any questions, you guys have my information. I'm looking forward to starting off the next series with you guys in a couple weeks. But until then, hustle and meditate, live like a warrior, love yourself, but also love each other, and I'll check you guys out next week.
Keep on smiling for keep on smiling.